In the relentless rush of modern existence, where time seems to slip through our fingers and demands multiply endlessly, the quest for a profound inner serenity can feel like a distant mirage. We are propelled, almost by instinct, to seek solutions and relief in external factors. Whether through consumption, the approval of others, or the incessant pursuit of goals, this outwardly focused pilgrimage, often exhausting, blinds us to a fundamental truth. Genuine peace and the most enduring balance are not commodities to be acquired or destinations to be reached, but rather inexhaustible wellsprings that gush forth from the depths of our own consciousness. It is in the silence of the mind, in its purest stillness, that the cradle of true tranquility resides. An oasis of calm that, when discovered and cultivated, possesses the power to transfigure not only our emotions, but the entirety of our existential journey. Ancient wisdom, echoing through the centuries in various Eastern philosophies, and notably in Buddhism, weaves a guiding thread that teaches us about the deeply transformative nature of calm. It is described not as an absence of agitation, but as an inherent power, a gentle and constant force capable of reshaping the inner landscape and consequently the panorama of our life. Today, we will embark on a journey of discovery through timeless teachings, revealing how the persistent practice of inner serenity manifests in an almost magical way. When you remain in a state of calm, you realize that everything you yearn for and need converges to you at the most opportune moment, in the rhythm of life itself. Before we dive into these pearls of wisdom, if this content resonates with your soul, I invite you to show your support. Leave your like, a simple yet meaningful gesture, and subscribe to this space of growth. By joining our community, you ensure you won't miss any of our explorations on the path to a more fulfilling and conscious life. When calm becomes a beacon, let's imagine for a moment what happens when we turn our attention inward to the silent vastness of our mind and there find calm. It is a subtle phenomenon, almost imperceptible at first glance, but one that unleashes a quiet revolution in everything around us. Inner silence acts as a magnifying lens, allowing us to discern nuances and details that, amidst the daily grind, are usually lost in the whirlwind of distraction. With this newfound clarity, our choices cease to be impulsive reactions and become deliberate movements, as we are able to examine each situation without the distorted lenses of anxiety or fear. The essence of Buddhism illuminates us by stating that true lucidity, the one that allows us to see reality in its fullness, only blossoms when the mind rests in serenity. And it is in this intrinsic peace that the most complex tangles, the worries that seemed unshakable, vanish with the same ease that morning mist dissolves under the rising sun. Life's journey is, by nature, a constant navigation through seas of uncertainty. However, by embracing the practice of calm, a surprising discovery awaits us. The answers we so long for, those we seek in all directions, are much more accessible than the agitated mind allows us to imagine. Serenity operates like a powerful beam of light, illuminating the paths of our walk, even when the landscape seems shrouded in darkness. It is important to emphasize that this does not suggest a posture of denying challenges. On the contrary, it means confronting them with a radically different posture, lighter, more conscious, and above all, wiser. Buddhism, with its singular depth, reveals to us that tranquility is not defined by the absence of movement, but by the capacity to find harmony in the very core of action, in the uninterrupted flow of life. By silencing the mind's noises, we open a sacred space where what truly matters can emerge. Thoughts once chaotic begin to dissipate, leaving behind only the essence. Calm is, in its purest manifestation, like the clear surface of an untouched lake, allowing us to see the bottom with impeccable clarity, free from the disturbing waves of agitation. How many times in our search for solutions do we realize that an instant of silent pause holds immeasurable value, surpassing 1,000 noisy pieces of advice? This is why actively seeking these moments of quietude is not a luxury, but a gift we offer ourselves. On the Buddhist path, we are taught that every moment of cultivated peace creates deep roots in the fertile soil of our being. Over time, serenity ceases to be a fleeting state and integrates into our nature, permeating not only how we feel the world, but how we act in it. Decisions that emerge from a state of calm are invariably wiser and more balanced. This state is not achieved overnight, but is a meticulous construction built with small daily gestures. With each new dawn, we have the opportunity to cultivate this silence, whether through mindful observation of our breath, meditative practice, or conscious pauses amidst the routine. The crux of the matter lies in recognizing that calm is always available, patiently waiting to be our conscious choice. When we manage to pause for a few moments, our perception of the world transforms drastically. Peace, this primordial source, does not come from the outside in. It blossoms within us and from there radiates, transforming step by step the totality of our experience. Many of us tend to believe that to achieve this tranquility, we need to orchestrate grand changes. However, the beauty lies in simplicity. Small actions, like tuning into the whispers of our own heart or immersing ourselves in the silent contemplation of nature, are more than sufficient to trigger this process. Buddhism values simplicity and shows us that genuine happiness can flourish in the deepest silence. There is no need to search externally for what already resides, accessible within our inner universe. To truly embrace the present moment is like flinging open a window and allowing a gust of fresh air to flood the deepest corners of your being. It is a liberation, a profound relief that washes over us when we finally cease the tireless struggle against what has already passed and let go of the anxiety about what might or might not yet arrive. In this act of radical acceptance, the mind settles its frantic currents and suddenly, everything seems simpler, less burdened by the weight of expectations or regrets. Buddhist teachings, steeped in millennia of insight, invite us to fully inhabit the now. For it is exclusively within this fleeting, vibrant present that life, in its most authentic form, truly unfolds. By cultivating a heightened awareness of the current moment, even the most mundane experiences are transmuted into something extraordinary. It is common to find ourselves shackled, whether by the echoes of memories that refuse to fade, or by an anxious fixation on the uncertainties of tomorrow. This dual entanglement, however, only serves to amplify suffering. The past by its nature is immutable, and the future, equally elusive, defies our attempts at absolute control. When we consciously choose to accept the present moment, we break these invisible chains. Gradually, with each breath, we begin to perceive that every single instant, however fleeting, carries its own splendor and a new opportunity for learning. The key to unlocking this freedom lies in observing all that arises without the burden of judgment, allowing emotions, thoughts, and sensations to flow naturally. Living with mindfulness is a daily exercise, a discipline of presence. Initially, the mind, conditioned by a lifetime of restless activity, will relentlessly try to drag us back into the labyrinth of worries. However, with persistent practice, we acquire the remarkable ability to gently bring our focus back to the now, to feel the subtle rhythm of our breath, to hear the sounds that weave the tapestry of our surroundings, and even to perceive the pulse of our own heart. Buddhism teaches that this steadfast presence is an inexhaustible source of lightness. When we are whole in the present, we become inherently calmer and better equipped to navigate any situation. The pervasive fear of the future, a shadow that often looms over our consciousness, obstructs our ability to savor life. We conjure up elaborate negative scenarios that in the vast majority of cases rarely materialize. In doing so, we neglect the real opportunities that lie directly before us. Embracing the now does not mean abandoning aspirations, but rather deeply trusting that everything unfolds in its inherent time. Buddhism reveals that genuine confidence springs from acceptance, and true peace descends upon us when we stop resisting what is already here. The echo of quietude, how silence reveals answers. Amidst the almost deafening clamor of daily existence, we frequently forget the intrinsic value of silence. This is not merely the absence of sound, but an expansive sanctuary where the machinery of our mind can finally rest and renew itself. In the embrace of silence, we gain the ability to truly listen to the deep currents of our feelings and thoughts, unadulterated by overwhelming external influences. Buddhism illuminates this path, teaching that by intentionally stepping away from the cacophony of the world, we clear an unobstructed pathway for the innate wisdom that resides at the core of our being to emerge. It is in the exquisite emptiness of sound that the heart, unburdened, can finally express its most authentic truths. Sometimes in our fervent search for clarity, we instinctively reach for external sources, forgetting a fundamental step, to simply look within. When the mind, habitually restless, finally silences its chatter, a remarkable phenomenon occurs. Ideas, insights, and solutions begin to emerge with a clarity that was completely obscured by agitation. Silence is the fertile ground where intuition flourishes, revealing pathways that may not seem logical at first glance. Yet with time, these insights unfold their inherent wisdom. The act of listening to the quiet murmurs of one's own heart is in itself a profound exercise in self-trust. The constant external noise creates the illusion that our existence is only validated when we are perpetually busy. However, the most resonant answers present themselves in those precious moments when we grant ourselves permission to pause, to simply be. Silence invites us to breathe deeply and perceive every nuance of our inner landscape. Buddhism values these internal retreats, recognizing that genuine peace does not originate from external circumstances, but from an authentic encounter with our essential self. Learning to cultivate silence can be challenging at first. The mind, accustomed to a barrage of stimuli, resists the quiet. But with sustained practice, we discover there is no danger in being alone with ourselves. On the contrary, it is in this sacred space that doubts begin to dissolve. Practicing silence does not require specialized environments. We can find these moments upon waking, before sleeping, or during intentional pauses in our day. It simply requires closing our eyes, breathing slowly, and allowing the mind to settle. Buddhism demonstrates that in these intervals, we are capable of perceiving what transcends words. Silence is a loyal friend, always poised to offer solace and guidance. Tirelessly attempting to control every facet of our surroundings is like trying to hold water in the palm of your hand. The tighter you clench, the more it inevitably slips away. There is a persistent inclination within us to orchestrate circumstances our way, to dictate the pace and the outcome. Yet life in its boundless nature possesses its own intricate rhythms. The teachings of Buddhism reveal that one of the most profound expressions of wisdom lies in the art of surrendering to what is undeniably beyond our direct control. When we sincerely acknowledge our limitations, a sense of relief washes over us as we finally release the crushing weight of the impossible. There are simply situations, individuals, and events that we are, by the very essence of existence, incapable of altering. The insistence on controlling the uncontrollable breeds only frustration and overwhelming exhaustion. Instead, a more enlightened path emerges. We can learn to act with unwavering serenity only where our actions genuinely make a discernible difference. This discernment grants us an incredible lightness and a profound inner peace. Buddhist philosophy guides us to focus our energy on what is truly within our reach, while cultivating a trust that the rest, in its own perfect timing, will follow its natural course. Letting go of the reins of control is by no means equivalent to passive resignation. On the contrary, it is, at its core, an act of radical trust, a profound belief in the inherent wisdom of life itself. When we consciously unburden ourselves from that which does not depend on our direct efforts, we create an expansive inner space for new opportunities to spontaneously materialize. The current of life, once perceived as a turbulent torrent, transforms into a gently flowing river, and we find ourselves navigating its waters with significantly less resistance. All too frequently, we expend immense reserves of our vital energy, trying to sway the opinions of others or to predict the intricate tapestry of the future. This relentless anxiety, however, serves only to generate suffering, given that the vast majority of situations are unequivocally beyond our direct influence. Buddhism instructs us to cherish the sanctity of the present moment and to act with gentleness, detached from the compulsion to force specific outcomes. In doing so, we cultivate a deep patience, embracing life's inevitable changes with greater naturalness. Through the consistent practice of detaching from the need for absolute control, we unlock a boundless wellspring of inner freedom, the rhythm of existence, trusting the flow of life. Life in its magnificent dance follows an inherent rhythm, one that often diverges dramatically from our preconceived notions. Learning to place unwavering trust in this natural current is, arguably, one of the most liberating teachings offered by Buddhism. We are often unable to grasp the deeper meaning of situations as they unfold. Yet, with the passage of time, with the benefit of hindsight, everything mysteriously clicks into place, revealing a coherent pattern. When we embrace the understanding that every phenomenon possesses its perfect, designated moment, we cultivate a deep patience, a serene fortitude, capable of transforming the very act of waiting into a rich learning experience. Frequently, we are driven by an urge to accelerate outcomes, expecting that everything will manifest with dizzying speed. However, this incessant haste only serves to amplify our anxiety, preventing us from appreciating the journey. Buddhism teaches that there is immense value in the process, not solely in the final destination. Each stage carries crucial lessons, even when their significance isn't immediately apparent. True patience is the quiet confidence that the right time exists, even if its contours remain veiled from our present sight. Observing the intricate tapestry of nature offers a masterclass in understanding life's rhythm. An ancient tree does not achieve its majestic stature overnight. The seasons shift slowly yet inevitably. By harmonizing our hearts with this wisdom, we learn to respect the unique timing of all things. Buddhism reminds us that everything of genuine and lasting value ripens with calmness, without any need for forceful intervention. Thus, life itself becomes a symphony of harmony. When we trust in life's timing, we willingly relinquish the insatiable need for absolute control. This act of letting go bestows a remarkable lightness upon the heart and grants us the freedom to fully inhabit the present moment. This brings us to the end of the script. I hope this deep dive into Buddhist teachings resonates powerfully with your audience. Before we conclude, I would like to extend a heartfelt invitation. If the wisdom we've explored today has touched your spirit or offered a moment of comfort, please consider becoming part of our growing community. Subscribing to this channel is an affirmation that these messages of peace and serenity matter. And beyond subscribing, I believe in the power of shared experiences. Did any of these insights, perhaps about embracing the present or the strength of not forcing things, resonate with you in a special way? We would love to hear your thoughts. Share your personal reflections or a small daily practice that brings you serenity in the comments below. Your story is an invaluable thread in the tapestry of our collective journey. Let's build this space together. Thank you for joining us. If you found calm in these words, remember to like this video and, most importantly, become a cherished member of our community by subscribing.